Matter is it is of course futures closeouts in South Africa today, and volumes quite high, around 20 billion rand or so passing through the market. So quite a strong day on the volumes front. These kind of moves that we see in the stocks, do you think that they're exacerbated by the fact that we have seen futures close out today?
Oh, undoubtedly, that always has an effect. Although these days, you know, the closeouts are done up to before the last day. It's not that mad rush. Yes, 20 billion is quite a big day, there's no doubt about that. But I think it's better planned than it used to be, and there's not quite as much volatility. But I would expect the biggest movers today to correct back a bit next week.
So in other words, you expect pressure for ArcelorMittal and Old Mutual. What about Implats? We saw quite a strengthening there, up around 3.6%. First Rand also gaining around 3% in today's session. So pretty much a mixed bag in terms of what we saw on the top of the top 40 today.
And you know, companies which have been under a bit of pressure are perhaps evening out just a little bit, and I think that's understandable. And also the ebb and flow of foreign trades in the market as well.
Let's touch on Exxaro, also quite an interesting stock. I mentioned it earlier, given the fact that we had the Exxaro CEO in the studio, and he didn't really budge on the fact that we could actually see Glencore buying the Namibian zinc asset. But news coming through today.
Eleni, it's important to say, regulatory conditions there,
Absolutely.
you know, they may not make a comment at all, even admit that an announcement was coming, you know, in line with JSE regulations.
Absolutely. And I mean, Exxaro down 0.6% today, so the market's not really responding to this news, but it had been quite a big rumour for quite some time in the market, though.
Yes, but compared to the size of Exxaro, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah. Let's also touch on MTN. MTN ending the day flat in today's session, no real movement there. One of the companies that actually has been doing quite well in 2011.
Yes, but I think just because it's you know, the futures close out, just because it's getting towards the end of the month, doesn't necessarily mean that it's got to keep on going day by day. It's performed well over the year, and that's what's important. And one thing I would like to say regarding performance over the year is to say, you know, the Aussie is only just about within 1% of where it started the year. So you say, well, that's okay, that's not too bad, especially in the light of the way other emerging markets have gone. But if you're a foreigner in the JSE, you've had a terrible time because of the depreciation of the rand. They're down by over 20% on the Aussie.
So that's not great news in terms of dollar terms.
No, and that means future inflows are likely to be a bit sparse.
So what do you think then the prognosis will be with regards to foreigners' appetite to South African assets going into 2012?
Looking they're going to look at the currency just as strongly as they look at the companies, and I think with the big question mark against the currency, the potential for further weakening in the next 6 to 12 months or so, they'll be a lot more cautious, and that's why we've seen this huge turnaround in foreign portfolio flows into the JSE and now net outflows.
News out just a short while ago, we heard news that Sign-Off is going to acquire 20% shareholding in PSG Group and will pay around 1.62 billion rand for that PSG stake. Is that surprising news? It's quite a peculiar story that actually has come through.
It's difficult to put it together. So I think one needs to know
PSG
part of the rationale behind it, and I think they'll come out with that. One can't take a decision right away on that.